Imagine going from sleeping in a van to raking in millions, or even billions. That's the wild, real-life roller coaster these 19 billionaires rode, starting with next to nothing and clawing their way to the top. From hunger pangs to penthouses, their stories are packed with grit, hustle, and a sprinkle of genius. These folks didn't just beat the odds, they smashed them to bits and built empires out of the rubble. Let's explore their journeys, from rags to riches, and see how they turned dirt into diamonds. 1. Oprah Winfrey, media queen, net worth $2.8 billion. Picture this. A little girl in rural Mississippi, so poor she's rocking potato sack dresses, dodging a nightmare childhood full of abuse. That's Oprah Winfrey's origin story. Raised by her grandma in a house with no frills, she still crushed it in school, snagged a scholarship to Tennessee State University, and then took the broadcasting world by storm. The Oprah Winfrey Show wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural juggernaut, the highest-rated talk show ever. Now, she's a media mogul, a philanthropist dropping wisdom and cash, and hands down one of the most badass women alive. 2. Howard Schultz, Starbucks savior, net worth $3.7 billion. Howard Schultz grew up in a gritty Brooklyn housing project where money was tight and dreams felt distant. He hustled through odd jobs to pay for college, then landed at Starbucks as a marketing guy. One trip to Italy later, he's obsessed with espresso vibes and decides to turn Starbucks into a global coffee empire. Spoiler, he nailed it. From a broke kid to the dude who made your latte an event, talk about a glow-up. 3. Ralph Lauren, fashion king, net worth $6.9 billion. Born Ralph Lifshitz, this Bronx kid shared a tiny apartment with his family and scraped by with teenage gigs. But Ralph had a vision, sharp, classy style for the masses. He kicked things off selling ties, then spun that hustle into Polo Ralph Lauren, the ultimate American luxury brand. From cramped quarters to catwalks, his journey's pure fire. 4. Leonardo Del Vecchio, eyewear emperor, net worth $25.8 billion at death. Left at an Italian orphanage as a kid, Leonardo Del Vecchio didn't have a fairy tale start. He worked in a factory making car part molds, but his eyes were on something bigger. Enter Luxottica, the eyewear giant he built from scratch, snagging brands like Ray-Ban and Oakley. From zero to dominating your sunglass game, he saw the future, and it was stylish. 5. Shahid Khan, auto parts titan, net worth $12.2 billion. Shahid Khan rolled into the U.S. from Pakistan with $500 and a dream. He washed dishes for $1.20 an hour while studying engineering, then took a leap and bought Flex Engate. That little move turned into a billion-dollar auto parts empire. And oh yeah, he also owns the NFL's Jacksonville Jaguars. From dish soap to touchdowns, this guy's a legend. 6. John Paul DeJoria, hair and tequila hustler, net worth $2.5 billion. John Paul DeJoria's childhood had some rough patches. Think homelessness and selling cards door to door just to eat. Fired from job after job, he didn't quit. He co-founded Paul Mitchell Hair Products, peddling bottles from his car, and later dropped Patron tequila on the world. From sleeping on the streets to sipping success, he's living proof you can bounce back hard. 7. Du Wan Chang, forever. 21 founder, net worth $3.1 billion. This South Korean immigrant juggled 3 jobs: janitor, gas station guy, coffee shop worker, before he and his wife opened a tiny clothing store. That hustle bloomed into Forever 21, the fast fashion giant that's dressed millions. From scrubbing floors to setting trends, Chang's story is straight up inspiring. 8. George Soros, money mastermind, net worth $6.7 billion. George Soros survived the Holocaust in Nazi-occupied Hungary, where poverty was the least of his worries. After the war, he hauled ass to London, worked as a railway porter, and clawed his way into finance. His quantum fund made him a Wall Street legend, one of the sharpest investors ever. From dodging bullets to making billions, Soros is unreal. 9. Kenny Trout, Telecom trailblazer, net worth $1.4 billion. Kenny Trout's dad was a bartender and money was scarce. He sold life insurance to fund college, then founded Excel Communications, a long-distance phone biz. That gamble paid off big. He sold it for $3.5 billion. From bar stools to boardrooms, Trout's a quiet king of the come-up. 10. Jan Kaum, WhatsApp wizard, net worth $15.3 billion. John Kaum moved from Ukraine to California as a teen, living on food stamps while teaching himself to code. Years later, he co-created WhatsApp, the app that changed how we text. Facebook scooped it up for $19 billion, turning Kaum's broke days into a distant memory. From welfare to world changer, wild, right? 11. Roman Abramovich, oil and soccer star, net worth $9.8 billion. Orphaned at 4 in Soviet Russia, Roman Abramovich grew up dirt poor. He started small, selling plastic ducks, then hustled his way into the oil game with Sibneft. Now he's got Chelsea FC and a yacht collection that screams, "I made it." From duck deals to domination, this guy's a baller. 12th. Francois Pinault, luxury lord, net worth $31.8 billion. Francois Pinault dropped out of high school in rural France, where his family had zilch. He kicked off selling wood, then leveled up to build Kering, a luxury empire with Gucci and Yves Saint Laurent in its crown. From timber to tailoring, Pinault's rise is next level. 13. Li Ka-shing, Asia's big boss, net worth $36.2 billion at retirement. Li Ka-shing fled war-torn China as a kid, landing in a plastic factory at 15. He didn't stay there. He founded Chung Kong Holdings and climbed to become Asia's richest man for a hot minute. From factory floors to skyscrapers, his hustle's iconic. 14. Larry Ellison, tech titan, net worth $141 billion. Raised by a single aunt in Chicago, Larry Ellison ditched college twice and bounced between odd jobs. Then he co-founded Oracle, flipping enterprise software into a goldmine. From scraping by to stacking billions, Ellison's a tech god with swagger. 15. Ingvar Kamprad, IKEA innovator, net worth $58.7 billion at death. Ingvar Kamprad grew up on a broke Swedish farm, peddling matches as a kid. At 17, he started IKEA, betting on cheap flat-pack furniture. That bet turned him into a household name and a billionaire. From matches to mattresses, he built a revolution. 16th. Dhirubhai Ambani, petro powerhouse, net worth $84.5 billion family fortune. Dhirubhai Ambani started pumping gas in Yemen, then hauled back to India to launch Reliance Industries. That little venture grew into a petrochemical beast, leaving his family loaded. From fuel fumes to fortune, Ambani's legacy is massive. 17. Sheldon Adelson, casino king, net worth $35 billion at death. Son of a taxi driver, Sheldon Adelson sold newspapers at 12 to help out. Fast forward, and he's running Las Vegas Sands, the world's biggest casino empire. From street corners to strip lights, he gambled on himself and won big. 18. Amancio Ortega, Zara zealot, net worth $89.5 billion. Amancio Ortega's dad worked in a Spanish factory, and young Amancio delivered groceries to get by. He co-founded Zara, inventing fast fashion and changing how we shop. From errands to empires, Ortega's a quiet genius. 19. Jim Carrey, comedy cash, net worth $180 million. Before the fame, Jim Carrey's family lived in a van. Yeah, that rough. He mopped floors as a janitor while chasing laughs, then hit it big in Hollywood, becoming one of its top-paid stars. From vans to VIP, Carrey's story is a riot. Conclusion: hustle beats history. These 19 legends show that starting with nothing doesn't mean you end there. They fought through poverty, rejection, and insane odds with raw determination and killer ideas. It's not about where you begin, it's about how hard you grind and how big you dream. Their lives scream one truth: no matter how low you start, the top's still yours to take. So what's your excuse?